All right, we're talking to Scott Bowman, the co-founder of the Nourish Movement. Scott, tell us about the Nourish Movement and what prompted you to launch it.
Thanks, Matthew. The Nourish Movement is a member-driven consortium committed to a common purpose, which is to connect innovators and their innovations to empower human health through food sustainably. We were born out of a groundswell of interest and momentum and energy that began actually at the World Innovation Network, or TWIN, a series of conversations and dialogues that led to roundtable events and a global convening, and really a groundswell of leaders from across the sector coming together and saying, something's got to change. We're guided by a shared purpose of connecting innovators and their innovations to empower human health through food sustainably. Those words are choiceful. For us, it means connecting innovators and their innovations, bringing together worlds that just don't naturally convene, the worlds of health and healthcare and the world of food and technology. They live in different universes, they have different language, they just don't collaborate in any meaningful way from a private sector perspective on innovation. The second piece to that is to empower human health. We are dealing with a crisis of human health of epic proportions. 1 in 5 deaths globally is related to our diet. Diet is the number one driver of chronic conditions and, one of the number one driver of mortality and morbidity, and all sorts of chronic conditions are rooted in our diets, unhealthy diets. And so we believe that change is needed, and we believe that the change that will demand a level of cross-sector collaboration and innovation that just doesn't happen naturally on its own, and that's what we're here to do at Nourish Movement. So to connect leaders that wouldn't otherwise convene, to bring together the sectors of food, health, and tech, and to help find common ground and opportunities to drive collaborations that lead to human health outcomes at scale through the lever of nutrition and food. How we do that is through finding challenges that are worth working on, that have the potential to create tremendous unlocks of value, and then curating and bringing together the leaders that have the potential not only to solve the challenges, but have the potential to benefit from them. And then we design events, challenge-driven innovation programs, sprints, and so on, to help go from challenge to ideas, and ideas to implementation and action, and then where the outcome, the byproduct of that, are pilots, collaborations, partnerships that we help to foster and form among the members that are present. Today we are backed by, we are a membership-driven organization. We are backed by organizations like Mayo Clinic, Geisinger, Roots Food Group, Mars Corporation, Compass Group, Devonish Humanitiv, Novo Nordisk was a founding partner, Griffith Foods, which was our anchor partner at the very outset. And then a whole consortium of players underneath that. What they share in common is the desire not to be a think tank, but to be a do tank. A do tank that's focused on getting to action, finding ways to build bridges across these sectors, finding ways to collaborate and partner in new ways, and where we can be the glue that helps make that happen.
What is your background, and how did you get interested in these issues?
So I also happen to run a management consulting firm by the name of Clario. So we do innovation and growth strategy work across multiple sectors. And so we live in the world of business innovation. We know that this is tremendously hard for established organizations, not only to innovate in new ways, but especially when it involves new paradigms, new thinking, connecting across traditional stakeholder boundaries, across sector boundaries. We know how difficult this can be. And so my firm Clario has had a background in helping individual companies do that, and also leading initiatives that are the kind of cross-sector, multi-stakeholder collaborative efforts that lead to this kind of change in the past. How I got to this personally was really as a result of a couple of things. Number one was the generous really support of our anchor partner, Griffith Foods. A catalyst, which is what we are, needs a catalyzer, and really Griffith Foods has been an incredible catalyzer of the energy that is behind the Nourish Movement. They were there at the very beginning, back in the early days at the World Innovation Network, or TWIN. They were the energy and the force behind saying, we believe in this, we're a purpose-driven company, and we want to make this happen. And they still today are deeply committed to our shared purpose. So that's an essential reason that really drove the rise of Nourish Movement. The other is personal. So I have experienced myself health crises that have been in some ways rooted by diet, and I have parents that have both died as a result of health crises that were rooted in diet. And so I look at this as something that it is about business innovation, it is about cross-sector collaboration, all of those things, but it's also personal to me. It's also about really creating change, a new kind of change in the industry that's going to demand a new kind of collaboration to get there.
And when did the Nourish Movement begin?
We came out of stealth in 2021. That's when we kind of went live, and our website, nourishmovement.org, gives information about our origin story and our linkages back to the World Innovation Network. That journey actually preceded the launch by a couple of years. It was sort of a stealth exploration to see whether or not there's a there, and there was. And one of the exciting things to me was to see leaders from the kinds of organizations I've just described not being pitched, but actually a groundswell of activity, people coming forward and saying, this needs to happen, I believe in this, and I want to get behind it.
You seem to have achieved quite a bit of progress just in 2 short years. Is there one in particular, you talked about the challenges you're undertaking or partnerships. Is there anything in particular that has happened that is concrete that you can point to so far?
Yeah, there have been countless collaborations and partnerships among members that are part of the consortium. And so one of the things I take great pride in is seeing organizations that have come to our events and convenings and saying, like, I would have never known those folks. I would have never engaged with them. I would have never had the opportunity to collaborate with them on a business level and around areas of shared purpose had it not been for Nourish Movement. And so numerous stories and examples on a smaller scale of things that have happened to really foster that kind of active collaboration. And I'll also say, Matthew, by way of looking ahead, there are things that we've developed in terms of energy and focus and thought capital that we're looking to lean into in the coming year that really excite us. And so we see tremendous opportunity to look for ways of scaling food as medicine models, and we see the role of employers being really critical in that equation. We think they're an underappreciated lever of influence. They are one of the 3 drivers or owners of cost, I should say, of healthcare. So the owners of the cost of healthcare are governments, individuals like you and me, and employers. And we think employers have not only a vested interest to empower their employee base, their families, the communities, and transform community food systems in which they operate, but we think they're motivated, and we're seeing that motivation happen not only within our movement, but also other stakeholders that we're engaging with. So more to come on that, but just to say, look, as you look ahead, we're going to be leaning in on this thematic of food as medicine, but also on the role of employers in the coming year.
Well, that's a very encouraging development and probably the perfect place to end. Scott Bowman, co-founder of the Nourish Movement, thank you for talking to Food and Health Facts.
Thanks, Matthew.